Hi guys, update time. So a lot of you guys asked, sorry, I'm trying to get this phone still. I need to get one of those little tripod things, but I shake so much. I don't know if that'll be good or bad. I don't know if I'm gonna make you guys nauseous or not, but anyway, yeah, if you guys can't tell, I chopped off my hair. My daughter had me cut her hair the same way when I got home from the salon. So that was really cute. We have matching haircuts. Um, anyway, let me get something to drink real quick. So I was pretty thirsty, huh? So, MSC. Uh, so a lot of people are asking about how this cancer came out and what I think about it. So originally I was diagnosed in, I want to say July or August. I want to say it was August of 2021 with anal cancer. I think I had like stage 3. They said the tumor in my bum area was like about that big, but it like circled around the bum. It didn't completely like connect, but it was inside there and it was pretty large. It felt that large as well. I had bleeding sporadically in February of 2021. I was bleeding more often by April. I had been contacting doctors as of like late February, and I just kept getting pushed off. And then in April, I believe they finally got me in because they said the earliest doctor's appointment wasn't until August of that year. So I was like, this isn't going to work for me. Like, it's getting worse. And so they finally got me in like April, I want to say. And the nurse practitioner or doctor, I don't know what she is, but her name was Star. And I seen her, and she basically said I'm too young for a colonoscopy, and that if the bleeding persists, to come back and see her again. And she did a rectal exam, and she did confirm, yes, there is blood in my stool. We did a little stool test, and I'm like, well, I already did that with another doctor, and there is blood in my stool. Unfortunately, the other doctor was out of my network, so I had to go find a doctor in my network, apparently. So hence why it took me 8 months to be seen almost. But yeah, I kept pushing. I went back in, I think June, to the doctor because I was at the point where like I was no longer, like I was starting to black out from bleeding so much, and I was starting to have a really hard time sitting. I couldn't sit anymore. I couldn't drive comfortably. I no longer could like exercise. I was sleeping all the time. Come July, sorry, I live like up in the hills, so you're gonna hear a lot of animal noises. Sorry. Enjoy it. How about that one? Not sorry. Enjoy it. But yeah, so it got really bad. I was no longer able to drive anymore come July. I was having to rely on my 15-year-old who didn't even have his permit yet. But luckily he got his permit right in time for me to start treatment. Great way to learn how to drive on the freeway, huh? But yeah, so he took care of me really well, both my teenage boys, and then my younger son took care of me at home while the boys were working or my husband was working, and then my daughter always just laid with me and did her best too, you know. So that's how it all started. It was just a little bit of blood, and then it became painful, and then it became like sitting was uncomfortable, walking was uncomfortable, standing. I couldn't even stand long enough to do my dishes at one point. Like I think that was like in July, like mid-July, because I remember I enjoyed 4th of July. I was in a lot of pain, but a friend of ours rented out one of the hotels up in the mountains further up, and we all went up there for the 4th of July, and we brought our RV, and we had a big party out there. All the teenagers had their party, all the adults had their party, and all the kids ran around and hope to God not to drink the wrong water. Just kidding. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I felt great. I think that was around the last time I drove. That was 4th of July weekend. Then, yeah, I started treatment September 7th, which is actually kind of ironic because I in treatment September 7th this time. I don't know what the world's trying to tell me right now with those two dates, or with that date, but anyway. So, yeah, I started treatment September 7th, ended October 18th, and by January I had my first scan. They said it was NED, but there was something that highlighted on the scan. Turns out whatever was highlighted all that year 2022 was still anal cancer. So I never clearly was cancer-free, but I was told I was cancer-free all of last year. And December, well, let me back up. August of 2022, I was at my son's soccer practice, and I started feeling kind of again, and went to the bathroom, blood, a little bit of pain, and then that practice I wasn't able to walk around or exercise like I normally was. And then I noticed it hurt to sit, so I was just uncomfortable during his practice, couldn't wait for it to get over. Driving home was hard for me. And then I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of the same stuff that I had last time. So I was like, shit. So, of course, I contacted my oncologist and did scans, did another biopsy down there, and everything negative, except for that little highlighted spot. And then somebody's got to always do yard work right in the middle of the day. Don't they know it's hot out here? Sorry, guys. If I have to move, I'll move. But it shouldn't be too bad. And then next thing I know, we're in December, and it's to where now, again, I'm not driving, and I can't sit on my butt flat, and I'm tired all the time, and it's, when I'm saying it out loud to my doctor, I'm like, it's cancer, but the doctor's saying, you're in remission. I was told I was in remission quite a few times in December, which I could honestly, I shouldn't even say it. I'm just really angry. If any of you doctors are watching this, I probably don't want to see you ever again. That's the truth. I don't want to see your face. I've had to cancel some appointments because I'm not ready to see the doctors who told me that I was in remission, because you guys were liars, and you should have already known better not to tell a cancer patient they're in remission. It hadn't even been a full year, 2 years. So there's a timeline, and there's a good point when you can say somebody is in remission. But when I'm already having the same symptoms as I had the year before when I did have cancer, probably not in remission, guy. So there's a few of you doctors that told me that. So this was to you too. I wasn't in freaking remission. I had cancer, guy. So anyway, now that I got that off my chest, little therapy session there, guys. Thanks. So in December, I had my final colonoscopy with my last care team, and they actually sent me over to a new doctor to do the colonoscopy. He found tons of necrosis, necrotic tissue, which is like dead tissue, and it was pretty bad. I knew it was bad because I stunk. Like, I didn't stink to be around, but I stunk to go to the bathroom. Like, if you had to even go pee, it stunk, because it's just dead tissue coming out of me. Like, it was disgusting. It was pretty bad. Then they did biopsies at that colonoscopy as well. Everything was negative. You don't have cancer. I was told again I was in remission, but the necrotic tissue needed to be addressed by a real, like a gastrosurgeon. I can't remember what they told me. Anyway, but the surgeon that did the colonoscopy looked pretty damn scared when I came out of surgery. So I was like, great, there's that look again. Same look I got when I was diagnosed with cancer, but this one's telling me I'm just dying from the inside out from dead skin tissue. So different news, same look. So again, no cancer. That was in December. Then a good friend of mine that I also went through anal cancer with said, you need to go see my doctor. He's Dr. Parrish out in Los Gatos. And I'm like, I'll try anything, because at that point I was no longer being able to poop by myself. I was having like, I was going into labor again to go poop, which was like so draining on somebody who was already drained. And then I wasn't actually getting anything out except for like maybe once a week. And it wasn't a lot, and it was like super narrow, and it took the life out of me to go poop. And I was starting to feel poisoned from like the inside out. So I knew something was really wrong. So anyway, I call this other doctor. I do a phone meeting with this other doctor. He agrees to like see me over the phone just to kind of, and he looked at my most current colonoscopy with the pictures and stuff, which was horrid to look at. After I saw those pictures, I'm like, how am I alive, right? Because I mean, I'm literally dying from the inside out and poisoning myself from the poop and the toxins from the necrotic tissue. So I was just like, Jesus Christ, no wonder why I couldn't leave my bed anymore. And the other doctor was like, yeah, you need to be seen immediately. I want to see you in my office. Well, my insurance didn't cover him. He's out of my network. So I was like, well, shit. And I couldn't get the kind of insurance he took because I'm an employer. I don't work for anybody. And to do the insurance he took, I would have to offer insurance to all my employees, which none of them could A, afford the plans that are available, B, that would kick them off the free plan that they already, most of them get, because a lot of them are single parents. So I was just like, shit, I'm stuck. Like and then it would cost me on top of that a fortune to have insurance. So it was just like, I felt like I was stuck. So his office eventually called me back and was like, and this is mid-January, he's like, I'll see you as a inpatient. We're not going to do it at the hospital. We'll do it inpatient. So he had me come in. I went and did an exam in his office, and I swear to God, I never felt so much pain in my life. I'd rather give birth. Sorry, Dr. Parrish, if you're watching this. I hated you that day. And that moment, I couldn't even look you in the eye because I wanted to cut your hand off. Even though your hand didn't go in me. It put something in me, and I didn't like it. So, now that we cleared that, he basically said, like, he feels a mass in there, because I told him I felt a mass in there. And he says, I definitely think we need to get you in to the hospital for a colonoscopy, like, immediately. And I was just like, fuck, I know, this is what I keep thinking, but I don't have insurance that'll cover you to do this for me. Like, and meanwhile, I was still waiting on that other surgeon that did my last colonoscopy in December to get another surgeon for me. Still hadn't heard from them. And on top of that, I'd have been dead by then because I wasn't pooping, remember? So Dr. Parrish, in my first meeting with him over video conference, he told me to start taking Miralax twice a day just to soften the stool enough so it will come out. And thank God for that, because I didn't even think of these things. I was in just shutdown mode. I was just trying to conserve and it sounds crazy, but you get so weak and so tired and so drained and so sick that you just sleep and wake up. That's all I was good for, I guess I could say. I mean, I'm sure I was good for other things, but that's what I felt like, is I was just in survival mode. I just could only survive that moment, that breath, that time, that hour, that nap. And so he basically saved my life by even helping me be able to poop again. And so anyway, I'd kind of given up hope because I was not financially going to be able to see him with insurance and everything. And I mean, yes, we probably would have done what we needed to do financially to get me into surgery with him, but I was feeling pretty bleak. And then the fact that the other surgeon still wasn't coming up with anybody, it was like, oh, this surgeon, call this surgeon. So I'd call the surgeon that they recommended. They're not accepting patients at this time. this surgeon's accepting patients, but because I have cancer, they're not accepting me. But they didn't diagnose me with cancer. It was because I was a previous cancer patient. So I should clear that up. But yeah, so because of having a pre-existing condition, a lot of doctors wouldn't see me. My insurance wasn't allowed in some places. And so finally, it was almost February, and I was feeling pretty helpless at this point, and I was starting to consider moving out of state so I can just get better health care, because I mean, California really is kind of a rough state for healthcare. So that's where me and my husband and family were at. It was like, fuck it, we'll just sell everything and move out of state and take care of this and start fresh, like whatever, right? And then Dr. Parrish's office called me and was like, he's going to start taking this specific insurance February 1st. You can get that insurance. So I called my aunt, who's a insurance broker, and I talked to her and I'm like, I got to get this specific insurance by February 1st so I can get seen. And she's like, absolutely, she's on it. So we got it. As soon as I got my approval letter, I sent it over to Dr. Parrish's office. By February 2nd, I think I was already on the books for surgery to get a colonoscopy and biopsies. And then I came out of that surgery, and he immediately, when I woke up, was there, and he said, yeah, there's definitely a mass in there. I took biopsies. The necrotic tissue has to be removed immediately. You're literally poisoning yourself to death. And he's like, you need to get in as soon as possible. He goes, but the only thing is, we can't get you in for a while for this surgery because of the schedule. And he goes, but I'm going to do what I can. And I was kind of like, shit, I'm going to die before I get in for surgery to get rid of this necrotic tissue, right? This is just the way I was honestly thinking. And sure enough, I think we were an hour into our drive home, because we lived 2 hours from there. And Dr. Parrish called me himself, and he goes, you're coming in next Wednesday, and we're doing the full APR. And I was like, holy crap, I'm not ready for that. Like, I'm not ready just yet. Like, I was right. I'll be ready in 2 weeks. No. So, I mean, it was shocking, but I was super shocked and surprised how quickly he arranged everything. Because there's got to be certain doctors. I need a urologist there to take care of that area, because there was so much bad tissue that he didn't know how deep he was going to have to cut into me. And he did end up having to cut into my vaginal area to remove, I don't know if it was the necrotic tissue or the cancer. It did turn out, I think by Monday, he already told me it was cancer that was in there, and that all of that needed to be removed. And so by Wednesday the following week, I had my full APR surgery, which was like a 6-hour surgery. When I woke up, he came and checked on me. He was there every day checking on me. It was a very good feeling. If you are watching this, Dr. Parrish, and I'm not going to cry because that's just not how I roll, but I love you. You saved my life. Like, my kids are so thankful for you. My husband, I don't know if he's thankful for you or not some days, but I'm pretty sure he's really thankful for you. You definitely gave me extra life. You gave me extra life in this game of life, so thank you. But yeah, so I had the APR surgery, and then that was February 8th. And I've had some infections since then. I have an infection right now. I'm on heavy antibiotics again. I did start a video earlier for you guys out in the sun, but I was like, holy crap, I'm going to end up so sunburned from this medicine. So I moved to the shade. But anyways, yeah, so that's the story of how it's gotten to where it is now, from the beginning to the end. Well, not to the end, because I start chemo on the 25th. And tomorrow I go in for my port surgery. I get a fancy new hardware that I get to play with for the rest of my life, probably. And so I have port surgery tomorrow out in the Bay Area. And then I start chemo on the 25th of May. So hopefully I'll be cancer free by September, late September. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, so that's the update. Trying to think if there's anything I missed. How do I feel about this? I remember that was a question. How do I feel about this disease? I feel like it hits my sweet little white ass because I do not care for this disease. I think, truthfully, I think there's cures out there for it, but I also think that, you know, this world and this life is a giant game of life, and there's people making a lot of money right now off of it. So I highly doubt that we'll be seeing the cure for this disease anytime soon. But there is early detection, and there is a way for people like me to not trust those scans and go and get a blood draw. The blood draw is Natera by Signatera, I think it is. And you can request that with your primary care physician or your oncologist. I have no idea how much it costs. Get insurance to pay for it. And that's that. So, I got pretty pissed off the other day. I got a lot of cancer questions, or a lot of weird, uncomfortable people out in public with their cancer comments. So I created a new web store, I guess you can call it, a storefront on bonfire.com. It's called Mama's Got Cancer, and I have some really cool merchandise on there. I ordered one of each, so that way when it comes in, I could wear it. I got this chemo sweater. I can't wait to wear it to my first chemo treatment because it's really cold in those infusion centers. It's not a zip up or a V-neck, so it's going to be kind of uncomfortable to wear over my port and stuff while I'm hooked up, but I'm sure we can figure it out. I'll be there for 6.5 hours. So, but it says, I'm here for the party. And then it says, by party, I mean drugs. And then underneath it says chemo, because you got to make it a party, right? I'm going to be there for a while. So figured I'd make it a fun 6.5 hours. Might even bring myself popcorn. Who knows? Anyway, one of them says, fuck cancer, and instead of a U, it's got a big ribbon. And I'm trying to do the different ribbon colors. I don't know all the colors. Honestly, I think it should just be one black ribbon, because I don't think we all need specific colors, but some people do need, to be, I don't know, unique with the colored ribbon. So I don't know. I have a bunch of different ones on there. If you guys have any suggestions of what I should do, put it down there. I don't have the prices marked up because I didn't originally start it to make any profits or put it towards any charity, because most charities, I feel like, there's somebody getting paid at the end of that rope. And to me, I think what I'll do, my son asked me, what am I going to do with the little profits that are going to be made on it? I was like, well, I guess I could just make chemo baskets for the people I do chemo with, because you do chemo, on the same day every time, and usually you're around the same people. So I was like, I received a really cool chemo basket from one of the high schoolers here locally that knows me, and her mom also has cancer too. And she just did such an amazing job at the chemo basket. I was like, well, maybe I'll team up with her and she can help me make chemo baskets for some of the chemo patients that I have chemo with. So that's, I think, what I'll do with the profits. So I'll just make chemo baskets for people. But yeah, so check it out. I'll try to put the link on this video or down below the video. I'm not really tech savvy, so we'll see how this goes. But love you guys. This was the longest video ever. Hopefully it uploads. Talk to you soon.